I gotta fix them up a little bit. I'll fix them up in a second here. What's 6850? 6850. Six eight five zero. Okay, let me see. Let's go. This is the future chart. That's futures. That's future. No, that's forex. All right, let's go back to SPY here. I'm just trading some event contracts for a very cheap price. Right now we're up 37%. We're up 60% on this now. Yeah, the market keeps soaring here. We're up 60% on the event contract. 60%. It's not bad. Do you think, Spy? Do you think, Doctor? 6 more minutes left. Alrighty, everybody. So we got this going. That's perfect. The next thing I think we should do here. Just give me one moment. Let me check. All right, I just sold it right here for 60%. Now I'm going to get into another contract. Another event contract. Remember, we're trading event contracts first. And then 28. 68.55. What are you talking about? SPX? Yeah, they are. Let's go back to SPY for a second. Oh my god, that's crazy. We're up again on it. Excellent. We just got 100% right there on the event contract. Again, everybody, we just got 100%. This was the last contracts that we just bought. Okay, so you got those, you got those. So we got 2 wins back to back for the event contracts. It's a time thing. It's just a little bit harder to trade it. However, it's not too terribly difficult. So now since it's about to be 10 o'clock, I'm probably just going to give this a second here. We got 1 more minute. I'm not going to get into another event contract like the last 5 minutes. So like for like right now, we're just going to leave them alone. This 60-cent account is already at $1.52. Once we get to around $10 with the event contracts, we're going to start using the same 60 cents that we started with today. We're going to be around $8 to $10. And the goal is to take that to around $50 to $40. So we only have a certain amount of time to flip this account up from 60 cents. Okay, so it's about 10 o'clock. I'm just going to keep watching the event contracts now. Yeah, so they go up at the last minute, a ridiculous amount. That thing went from... Okay, that contract's closed now. Okay, now we have the new contracts. Alright, everybody. Let's go ahead and look at the downside now. Looks like you're going to start turning to the downside here, potentially. If you can't stay above these highs. If you hold above the high, where you're going to run to, the first level you're going to want to run to is going to be the top of this orange box. But if you just fall below the opening high, you're just going to fall to the bottom of the box. If it falls back towards the middle, we'll wait for it to happen. And then we'll come up with another game plan here. For now, we got a game plan for both extremes. For the both extremes of the aisle, right? Yeah, so we got to wait another 40 minutes, everybody, before we could trade event contracts again here. There you go, everybody. I just got deja vu. The fuck? I have a new event contract, everybody. We're up 12% on it already. Again, we got something saying that the event contracts were not going to make it above 6,855. As soon as you just peaked at the top of that orange box right there, just like we had mentioned a couple minutes ago. Now, if you get above the orange box, you're going to run to the top of that blue box right there, which is right next to the first major S level type of, put play, let's just say. Anything that we've been playing in between here is just worthless. It's not going to yield that much profit. At least not yet. Give it like another 30 minutes or an hour of consolidation, and this thing should start increasing the amount of profit you're making per contract, just due to the momentum. Because remember, everybody, it's coming up soon. In 2 days, we have FOMC, the most important report of the month. So far on the event contracts, it looks like we're up 296%. And remember, these are a little bit harder to trade than contracts because the way they move is entirely different. It's very similar, but yeah, it's very similar to event contracts. Insanely similar, actually, to options. But again, it's very different. We're up 340% now. By the way, good morning, everybody on YouTube. Good morning. Let me go check SPX. SPX is at 6851. 6851. 6851. Gold, we're still waiting for a euro. We're about to get into another long here. All right, we're going to let the SPY stuff just rock in the back here. We're not going to touch it. We already put our limits. We'll see how it goes after. I need to go to NVIDIA here. Yeah, NVIDIA's at that same level. I could see NVIDIA consolidating up here for maybe like another day or two. Some weird consolidation pattern like this. And if it could do that, we're going to get the puts like right here, somewhere around here, for us to play that drop going right back down even lower. You could also play the drop the second it goes beneath that middle line or this quarter line for it to fall down to 184. But you just got to be very careful with NVIDIA. Always be very careful with that. Up 400% now on the event contracts for SPY. Let's go take a look at it. I'm just going to sell it here. Excellent. That's excellent. Look at that. All right, we're going to wait for them to get a little cheaper now. That's our third successful win in a row. All right, let's go to the next contract we want to trade, which is going to be gold. How's gold doing? Gold is not doing too hot, everybody. Gold is not doing too hot. We're going to give it some time here. Remember, everybody, where there's a will, there's a way. There is always a way. And what I'm referring to is the opportunity to make money. There's always an opportunity. Many people, they'll just complain about not knowing what opportunity they should take part in. But that's besides the point. What matters is, can you spot an opportunity to begin with? Once you can, the whole dynamic changes. You're no longer operating off of fear. You're now operating off of pure instincts. Come on now, everybody. Again, everybody, do you see how the first idea that we had today, which was the first major idea that we were saying out loud, right? That idea was only that we would reach the top of the orange box right here or the bottom of the orange box. The first thing you did was touch the top. So, of course, if you get below that green line right there, or the red line for that matter, because that's the current VRVP indicator. That's where all the volume is. You see those yellow and blue bars on the right side. That's basically the VRVP indicator. So you have most of the volume quite literally on top of my support line, which is weird, but at the same time, it makes sense. You know, after redundant practice, after redundant trials, now we have a situation where each and every chart can be used specifically by itself and be extremely powerful. That's pretty much it. So the simple fact that we could use each chart by itself is wonderful, let me tell y'all. We also should have a potential 15-minute box here being made. Let's see if there was anything else on Friday on the 15-minute. I'm on extended hours just to make sure. There is no zone here at all, everybody. No zone at all whatsoever. The next zone you have is way down here. So you're doing literally, I kid you not, you're doing exactly what you did last time when you went through the 650s. You're doing it to the 670s. And we knew it. We knew it. Let me tell you, we knew it. So now you're definitely gonna get a giant drop here. You hit 683.60, which is right next to 684. Let me see if I can scoop up some event contracts here. Where's SPX again? It goes off of SPX, by the way. That's why I keep looking at it. All right, this SPX chart, what is wrong with it? Oh, it's because I'm not looking at it here. I got you guys. Give me 1 second. SPX. Oh, no, because it's SPX. It's not ES. So I can't do that there. SPX. Where's my SPX charts? I think I have one here. XPX? SPX. All right, let's go here. Bam. Then let's go ahead and click SPX. Go to full screen. And then I have this SPX chart up. Yeah, you literally did 2 gaps right here at the top, as you all could see. 2 perfect gaps. You gapped up here on Friday, and then you gapped up again going to Monday. Last week, pretty much did the same shit. You ran up Monday, or you gapped up to Monday, but then going into Tuesday, you gapped down. Meaning we might get a gap down and have a large ass gap right here at the top that's not filled by any type of price action from today to tomorrow. So you could just continue to run up here, get to like somewhere over here, and then potentially start falling out the sky. To me, this looks like it's going to fill the gap sooner or later. Sooner or later. Let's see what's going on here. Hey, look at that, everybody. Okay, so now I'm going to buy the opposite side. It's about time. Excellent. We got right back in that contract at the bottom, everybody, for the event. Excellent. Okay, let's just let this rock here. Let me get some water real quick. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're up 20% here from the bottom. We just had to give it a few minutes. This account is flying into the sky right now. Oh my goodness. Excellent. All the work we put into the charts over the last couple days here. Absolutely excellent. Let me see this other trading app real quick. What is it called? Oh yeah, Tasty Trade. Yo, it is freezing over here. I guess this is technically the fourth trade today. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. That's 5. So this is the 5th trade we've done today. 5th trade, everybody. 5th trade. Excellent. We sold it. That's another 100, almost 100% trade right there. Now I'm gonna hop into the contract for the opposite side now. I think we gotta wait here. We gotta wait for them to get a little bit cheaper. They did go up by a couple cents there, but not what I wanted. So if you could just fall down again, we'll just go long again. So again, everybody, that was the 5th trade today. Technically the 6th if you count the gold trade. Alrighty, looks like we might get an opportunity here. Wow! Remember, we got a lot of stuff we got to do today, ladies and gentlemen. Just recognize that. I'm just giving this a moment, trying to absorb as much wins as possible right now within like the first hour and a half, which is usually the most amount of volume you're going to get in the day besides the last 5-10 minutes. So, yeah, let's just keep watching this very closely. If you touch the top of the box, what we're going to do here is we're going to see if it wants to just instantly flicker right off of it, meaning it wicks up to the top of the box and then wicks right back down like really quickly, because then all we're going to do is market fill. Again, everybody, we have 5 trades so far today within the first hour, and all 5 of them have been successful. This week is going to be a little different than your usual week of me trying to teach everybody. Now I'm kind of taking everybody along the journey of being extremely profitable. That's the plan, at least. Anything can happen, of course, but as long as we just put a lot of attention to detail into the buys, the sells, the insurance, make it simple. We don't got to do anything too crazy and complex. And as long as we could do that, we should be really good tomorrow as well. So yeah, a lot of things are changing here, everybody. Remember that. A lot of things are changing. Over the weekend, what we did was we created a new chart, which is going to explain the next layer of trading styles that I will be teaching throughout the next 12 months here. It's going to heavily relay off of version 3 or generation 3. Remember, this is the only time I've ever showed you guys generation 3, and we started completing it over the weekend. And we got a lot of work done. I literally went through every single day. When I say every day, I mean I did it like 4 or 5 times, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It got really annoying, and I just got a little tired, so I just stopped right here in November. But we managed to do all that within a day. So this week, the goal is going to be to finish all this going straight down to October 23rd. And then hopefully by the end of November, we can have all of this done down here, all of this done from 21, and then some of that stuff from down there. Now, you might ask the question, what am I doing here? I can't explain it yet, but just understand that this is us trying to figure out the complex irregularities that exist on the short-term flow. So, like, you know, when you have an idea, like, let's just say over here, right? Boom, you have an idea the market's going to run up. It's just like, all right, to what high, how fast do you think it's going to run up? And what contracts are you going to get in terms of your strike price? Well, this trading style here, this new one, is going to actually allow you to know which trading style to choose from. So let's say if, boom, let me zoom into this real quick. Let's say if you got a blue box right here, right? A blue box could initiate the idea that the next day is going to be a move that's half of that, if not about 1.5 times that. Because double is a little extreme. But it can happen, yes. That is the idea. So either half of this is going to happen next, right? A little bit less than this or more. And what happens? It's a little bit less. Now, what this means is, from my own experience, again, I can't really explain it too well right now because we just created this, but this would tell you to use reversal points the next day whenever you have a blue, because it means that now the reversal points are going to be really, really, really exceptional. Why? Because a blue box simply means that you made a $7 to $12 move within the past 2 days. Yellow means you made a $7 to $12 move within a day. So they're kind of the same thing, but shorter. If that didn't occur, you would have did a $15 move in either 2 days, which would have been orange, or let's just say you did a $15 move that day, it's now going to be red. So boom, let's just go hunt down a red day. So boom, there's a red day right here, right? So whenever you get a red day, the one thing you want to understand is that the next day is going to be either orange, so it's either going to be higher towards the green, or it's going to be towards the blue and yellow. So let's just say some of you guys don't like to play with the consolidation like BS. All you got to do is wait for a really large box like red, orange, blue, or any of the green. And then the only thing you have to do is pretty much just get ready for the next day. That's it. So it's like a perfect way of always telling the person what trading style to use, when they should trade, and as well as this separates different traders. So every box you see here, every color, basically is a different trader. That's how different people trade. That's why it's so hard for me to teach you guys, because every single time we trade, even though it's a similar size that day, even though it's a similar trend that day, the 2-day, the 5-day, the weekly trends are basically telling you that, again, something insane can happen. So, yeah, it's really, really cool. Really cool. It basically kills like 10 birds with one stone. And yeah, so look at all the types of traders there are. Now you can ask yourself, all right, I don't want to trade today because the day before we got a purple zone, or let's just say the day before we got nothing, like this right here. So when you get nothing, that means the next day is going to either be purple or it's going to be white, because there's no box. It's very small. And then what do you get? You get a purple. When you get the purple, the first thing you're telling yourself is, all right, now the trends could potentially pick up. Let's just say it's slowed down towards the top and it might change directions here, because it usually does that. Same thing with the bottom, right? But I guess our bottoms haven't been the same. Oh, this is way back. Let me go to our current price action before I confuse you guys. And then we're going to go on to the next chart. No, yeah, Pete. But remember, what we teach here, this is, just so you can understand, Pete, this is the algorithm. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. So since we already have the algorithm, it's a whole different, can of worms, you could say. That's the reason why when I get a little angry sometimes, because I can't say that stuff out loud. Like, for example, this YouTube video is now going to have to be taken down. But it's okay. It's whatever. It's fine by me. Even if this is one of our best days, it happens. You just can't say those words, unfortunately. That's one of the reasons why my channel keeps getting banned, by the way. I keep referring to certain things. And yeah. I wish I could tell you guys exactly how I see the market and what we could truly do here. I really can't. But let me just tell you, this is the highest level of charting in the world currently, as it stands. I'll just put it to you that way. Whether or not you believe it or not, that's something you're going to have to figure out through your own investigative processes. But if you want to respect what I think and how I see things, this is definitely not just this chart, but us here in general in this group. We have such an understanding of the market and the algorithm that nobody could really compete. The only thing that separates people is motivation. That's it. How motivated are you to do what I did, which was sit in a chair for 12 hours, 10 hours fixing these charts? Can you do that? Can you sit down for 10 hours straight just to make sure everything is perfect? And then not only that, but can you go left to right, meaning you go from right all the way down here, then you go back to the right, then you go back to the left, back to the right. It's insane. No, but Pete, that's something you should know by now. If you don't, well, now you do. Make sure you write it down. Make sure you never forget it. As a brother, it's required. You know what I mean? What's going on, though, Pete? What is going on? All right, everybody, let's go back to these charts here. Let's see if we can get some other trades. This looks like it's going to expand to the top, so I'm going to go long here. Excellent. We bought into it. Remember, this is going to be our 6th trade. 5 of them are so far perfect. Again, we went long right here. So if the market gets below that green line, we're just going to potentially stop out of the event contract just so we don't have to take any losses at all. Well, it's going to be a tiny loss, obviously, because it's going to be right below where we bought. Currently, right now, we're break even. The goal is going to be to at least double this, because I think you're going to make a new high and break out finally within the next 10 minutes. If you don't, again, we're just going to stop out if you get below the green. And then if you get a little bit higher than currently where you're at right now, we could just put a stop loss just in case. Actually, can you put a stop loss on an event contract? I never tried that yet. I've just been selling it at market price. Let me see. Can you put a stop loss? Boom, 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 boom. No, you can't put a stop. You have to sell that at limit. You can't even sell that at market. So this is a little bit harder. All right, everybody, you're below the green line. Now, if you get below this dotted line, of course, the first thing you're going to see the market do is potentially fall down to the bottom of the orange. That's the next like hurdle, you could say. So again, the next hurdle below this white line right here is going to be a drop to the bottom of this orange. Right now, we're just messing with some event contracts right around this area for you to make a new high. This does look like the right side of a mountain, though. So you can see either a lower low or potentially beautiful higher high. Actually, you know what else you have here? You have a really nice wedge, both to the top and to the bottom, and it's expanding, meaning it's opening up. It's kind of like Pac-Man, right? Like this is like the mouth back here, and then the mouth is like opening up this way. So if you crash below the dotted line, I could see you falling straight through this and then straight through a new low. So this morning we bought a 0-day strike price right here at the top, and we sold those for 50% right around the dotted line. Same thing as what you're doing now. It's just you didn't properly hit the top here. So it's kind of like you're getting improper moves, kind of like half-assed, unfinished moves, right? So whenever you get a situation like this, I tend to just take a step back, sit back. Don't get too frustrated or into it. Just chill out. Chill out. And by the way, the 0-day contract that we bought, let me go check to see which one was the strike price. I forgot what strike price it was. What strike price was it? Oh, 682. Ah, my leg. So we got a 682 put. Bought it for 70 this morning and sold it for around 130, 120. At the bottom of the wedge now, everybody. Let's see if you're just going to whiplash right back up now. And then we're going to use what happened at the last hour of 9 o'clock, or last 5 minutes, let's just say. And then the last 5 minutes of 10 o'clock going into 11. We're going to use that for the last 5 minutes of 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock. Does that make sense, everybody? Last 5 minutes are very important. These event contracts, they move ridiculously, let me tell you. I bought another one right there at the bottom. Right on the dotted line. Right around the wedge that we just created a few minutes ago. Okay, so this is going to be our 6th trade. We still have a couple minutes here. After that, we're going to move on to the next idea, which is going to be to fix this chart number 2. Chart number 2, ladies and gentlemen, chart number 2. Let me see something real quick. Where's the weekly boxes? Weekly boxes. So we got to fix this area up here now. We do have our put levels ready, but these are like the bigger put levels. We don't have the 0 days ready here. So ladies and gentlemen, how does one go about fixing this and getting the proper levels? Well, it's very easy. Just watch what I do here. First, whenever you have a box, you need to select what's in the box. Since there's a circle up top here, we're not going to copy this one down here. Nor are we going to copy this 0 day entry because there's no point. We're also not going to copy the 5 day entry, as you could tell. Actually, no, we can. Yeah, we can. But then again, I don't want to have mad 5 days up here, so we're not going to copy that. We're just going to grab these, and then we're going to grab the boxes. So boom, and then grab the 1/8, copy it right on top like this. And now all I got to do is change the actual prices. So right here is 68437. So below 684.37, you're gonna play puts to right here, which is 68304, 68304, 683.04. And what I'm doing here is I'm looking at the 116 point, and I'm being like, all right, we want to sell before you hit the 116th point. So if you get a put at that red, you would sell around this green box here, not at the line. Unless your target is down here, then you could put the stop loss at the line if you just want to, I guess, just in case. What you want to see is you want to see the market get above that area. You don't want to see it run to an area and get like slow like how it is right here, because all that tells me is that you're just going to start running up, potentially staircasing up today, where we can get some puts at the end of the day for the rest of this week. So that's the plan right now. Get some puts for the rest of the week. And yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, let's go back to these other SPY charts real quick, just to see where SPY's at. Yeah, there's pretty much nothing going on here. So we'll just take it off of that. Now, do you have a new supply and demand zone? And the answer is not yet. Not yet, everybody. I forgot to fix these charts too. Where is it? No, this one. Yeah, look at this, everybody. Look how insane this chart is. All right, so this chart right here, we had to go off for some backup. And we got some F-16s on our tail, just making sure they watch us from the back while we just take out everybody from the front. So our rear is covered. The sides look a little weak, so we got to pay attention to that. Got to be very careful, and then we'll see if we can call in some more support down here, just in case. So on the short term, what this chart basically is demonstrating is your monthly Doritos, and then we merged it in a new way that I've never merged them before. The only time I've ever done this was in 2023 when I was working on QQQ when I was first developing this, and we're using that initial style I created back then to know. Let me show you. Let me zoom out. So look at this. You have the yellow in the middle, you have the red at the top, which is the put levels. So we're in a time, right? We're in an area where this whole entire range, anything ridiculous to the downside can start to occur. Meaning you could just fall out the sky for whatever reason, anywhere over here that's in the pink. Anywhere that's in the green, you're going to get bought up. Just like how you got bought up over here, over here, over here. Where's the next one? Remember how the market fell $30 out the sky? Perfectly here. And remember how you fell again the next day? Perfectly down here at the bottom of the yellow. So like it runs up to the top of the yellow, runs down to the yellow. And the second you see this get back into the trend here, so like you see how this day opened up really high above. The second you see this here, the first thing you're going to do is instantly get into a put for this to fall back down to here. $5, $10, $20, that's it. And then at the same time, because you think that the main direction is up, or because maybe you want to wait, or because maybe you're playing the weekly because you think that this did everything it was supposed to do here, because this was the same thing as December. So the trend here was the same thing as December, and I could prove it to you guys in just a second here. But the first thing I want to show you is if you went long here, your first goal would be to play to the top of the yellow. You see? Now, if you get above the yellow down here, what that means is that if you get to the top and you get above it again, you're going to go way higher. That's all that means. And the only reason why I know this again is from testing this in December. Now, let me show you guys how it's the same thing. Let's go on the 1 hour. December is going to be to the left. Our current timeline is right here to the right. So compare this right here with this. Very, very similar. The only thing that's different is the fact that you're getting the crazy ass uptrend, but it's kind of the same as over here, right? Where you fell down a lot, got a crazy ass downtrend, and then you started jumping to the sky. So we're probably doing this extreme behavior to the top side right now, meaning this is what a market does when it's running up into a new high, just like in 2020. Let me show you guys. Let me go to the 4 hour. So just like in 2021 to the left side here, when the market was running up and you were like dominating the sky, right? Just blasting through everything. Oh, that's 24. Sorry. It's still the same shit though. It's pretty much the same thing as 2024, like right here. That's what we're currently doing right now. Same thing as 2024 and 2021. So like the way you started dropping out the sky after you went above the COVID high, like over here, like why would you fall from the sky from 394 straight down to 372? Like what initiates that? And the answer is very simple, actually. It just took me some time to figure it out. But let me show you guys real quick how simple this answer is. Which chart can I mess with? Right here, this one. So there you go, everybody. You see how this blue box is after? Meaning, if you were trading here, you would not be able to use this blue box until you actually made a peak here. Now you could use the box, the blue box, for all of this stuff to the right side. But like, what about here? How could have you traded this moment in time in history, and how could have you known that the market was gonna like basically drop right here? Like, what would have told you this? And there's two different ways you can go about testing this. The first way, and my favorite way, is to grab the low and grab the high before you dropped out the sky and started running up, you know, into Narnia again. The next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna put a box at the top again. Watch this. I'm going to do it very quickly here. And then you're going to copy that to the bottom. Actually, so I don't have to do this later. I'm a little lazy. I'm just going to change this now. Put 1/4. And then make sure it's inside of the box. Copy that to the bottom. Next thing I'm going to do is make sure this says 1-2. And then move that a little bit more to the left like that. Make sure we put this one inside. Okay, so now this is all done. Now you just copy it on top of itself, pretty much. Just like that. Now let's stop here for a second. So when the market fell out the sky over here, the first thing you want to be thinking about is what level is this near in terms of the DARP. And like we told you guys before, for some reason, the market loves respecting these 1/16, 1/8, and, you know, smaller boxes. It doesn't really pay attention to the 1/2 or the 1/4. It does in some cases. Like, for example, you see how I'd use the trend from COVID, right? What if I use the trend from down here? And that's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. This trend is going to work for over here. It will. However, you definitely already have a better trend from the left side. Using 08 or using the .com bubble, you could definitely get a better box and use it for over here. In fact, guess what? I already have that. I was just showing you how to create them. So if we go over here, you would see that this was the first time I tested that idea, where I kind of copied it on top of itself, like right there. And then I have another chart I'm going to show you after this, which is me just stacking all these boxes up, like straight up to the sky. And the first thing you start to notice is, let's say we go to the 1 hour, and I want to go to the left to show you guys 2021 and how you could have predicted that. Let's keep going. That's 2020, so this is perfect. Let's close this to the left side. Let's drag. I can't see it too well, actually. Let's go to the 2 hour. That's fine. Excellent. Okay, so when the market fell, like right here, for example, what line is it near? This dotted line right here, right? So the 2018 to 2020 DARP, this is actually different than the one I just showed you. So the one I just showed you was measured from down here, 2020, to the top, and then I used it over here. The blue one basically is measured from 2018 to 2020. So right before COVID just smacked the market, that's how long I had these boxes. Of course, I wasn't trading around that time, but let me just act like I was, just so we could put everybody in the mindset of predicting the future from here on out, right? Because you have to be able to backtest and see how this could have worked in the past. If you can't do that, it's not going to work. It's not going to be a trading style that yields any good growth, is what I'm trying to say. So, as you could tell, you fell perfectly from right here, and then when the market starts to gap up and run up, do you see how you're gapping up on this dotted line now, which was from the 2020 DARP? And then you run to the top over here, and again, that 2018 DARP, if you would have bought some puts at this line or this dotted line all the way up here, which is 498, let's just look to the right side and see how that would have worked out for you. 498, remember. So 498 is right about here. So if you would have bought some puts when the market first ran into this level, you would have been down a little bit the next day, but then you would have fell down 504 straight down to 490. That's $14. So you would have only bought it $6 from the top, so you would have had a $7 drop. That's good profit right there. That's not bad at all, especially if you're averaging down. So that's consistent is what I'm trying to say. And then you go up to the next high, and you pretty much, I'm sure you're going to find the same patterns with the 1/16th points and all that good stuff, right? Okay. Also, you know what I forgot to show you guys? Something really cool. If you just measure the bottoms, you can see when the next bottom is going to happen. I don't know if you guys knew that. So, like, let's just say, what box can I do this? Where can I do this? Yeah, we could use this one. So let's just say you go off of 2022's low and our low right now of 480. By the way, this is that chart that I was talking about. Everything copied on top. So let's say you go to the bottom here and we make a box. And then you go to the next bottom, which was 480. Now you have a box, right? Now the next thing you do is you just simply take that box, you put it at the bottom of 480, and the new top is going to be around 619 to 613. That means that when the market chooses to fall out the sky within the next 6 months, you're going to fall down on top of this green. So this is what strike price is your target. You're not going to get this strike price because that's very risky. You want something before it. And then we're going to slowly just buy and sell, back and forth, back and forth. We're not going to hold something, just one contract straight down. Those yield good profit, yeah. But it's better for us to actively trade so we can gain more experience quicker. That's the whole reason for that. And then once we start getting a couple dollars to our name, the next thing we're going to do is just create a nice system for growth here in terms of then taking the safe routes. You see what I'm saying? So again, we're going to start taking the safe routes after we have some decent profit. We just got to give it a little bit. You're still playing with that wedge right now. You are showing signs of you tilting. However, just give it a moment here. Alrighty, let's see what else we could do here. The gold trade is down 300. We'll hold that for the next couple of days here. Why is my back vibrating? Feels like I just broke my spinal cord. Maybe I shouldn't be sitting like this. Fix my posture. All right, so we did everything there. That's also clear. We went over many things such as those charts here. I gotta fix this, the YouTube charts that we created before, like last year. I gotta organize those now. And then we gotta organize all the videos where I showed how we were gonna predict the market ahead of time. I want you guys to watch all of these videos from last year so you could see not just with me telling you that I predicted every single month possible, but I want you to see it for yourself. I want you to watch it. I want you to see how we profited, whether it was a loss or a win, you know, basically profited or took a loss. But it was an exceptional year. It was probably my favorite year of all time so far. 2025 is a close runner-up, but we still have to see how it ends. That's going to really change the whole, you know, tone of everything. But yeah, I have some videos here from November. That was when we really started predicting it, like November 2023. Oh no, that's 2024. So that's after. I got to find the other videos. It's a lot of them, so it's kind of why I've been putting it off for a little while here. Extra not needed unless you're profitable 4 hour. Link for the 4 hour. Oh yeah, and this is all the silo fibs, like all of our special classes. I keep them here, like for the teachers, but I still gotta fill them in. And then we have all of our other accounts. I actually have to add the new account that we had here, which is we have a new account that we added. It's just one chart. It is not completed. Not completed. And then in use, yes. Yes. This one's also in use as well. All right. So we're done with this now. Now let's move on. Touch this up a little bit. This is how I tend to work on multiple things at the same time very quickly. I just go from thing to thing to thing that I could fix really quickly. Like for example here, did we fix this 7.4? No, we didn't. Let's finish it. I was explaining that. The next put is going to be straight down to 68133. 681.33. This right here is a 1/8 point. So is this correct? So the 1/16th, and then this one right here is a 1/4. That is not the reset point, so we're going to delete that. 1-4. And then right here, we're going to play calls above, let me see, calls above 684.70. Oh shit. Calls above 684.70. And then we're playing calls to right here, which is the 1/16 point. 686 flat. 686 flat. So we don't got to change the 1/16 thing there, the fraction. And then the next thing we have to do is going to be to play calls to here, which is 687. You could just say, we'll just say 687.75. 687.75. 68. Siri, I did not ask you. What the hell? Where you just came from? Okay, so that's going to be the reset point now. So now we can add this, delete the 1/4. Reset. POINT. Reset point. Excellent. And then right here, I think we're ready to fix these. Yeah, these are nice. These go straight down to right here on the 5 days. I can add another one though. I think I'm gonna, for the 5 days, I might start to add a fourth level. The fourth level here is going to be 67763. 677. Then 677.63. Actually, that's perfectly on the the line. That's not what I want to play to. 687. Let's just say 678, 678 flat. 678 flat. All right, that's perfect. That's good enough. That's almost $10. Any $10 5-day or 15-day contract that you're holding, if you go in the money by $5, let's just say, and you hit this last goal, that's well over your normal means of profiting. So you should be happy with that, is what I'm saying. You shouldn't want more than that. You should accept that. So you're only going to get around 100 to 400% with your 5 to 10-day contracts. Usually, you can do more, but yeah, I just like trading 2 5-day contracts per week with 2 separate ideas. Sometimes at the same time, sometimes at different moments. And yeah, that's pretty much it, you know? And then if you're trading a 0-day, remember, you don't want to use too much capital. So you want to make it retain a certain norm so that it's consistent. So like for tomorrow or for the next days, you're just running it back, running it back, running it back. You know what I mean? By the way, how's everybody on the Discord? How we doing here? Good morning, everybody. Let's go here. All right, let's start building this idea next. So the next thing that we have to do here is we did this one, we fixed it up, we made it look nice. Now it's perfect for today. We don't got to do nothing else. We just got to wait. And then tomorrow we'll start to build more levels around here. I just want to wait before we start going crazy. As well as there's going to be a new box being made here. So remember, everybody, there's going to be a new box being made here from the low of October 10th to the high of October 27th. And FOMC is in 2 days, remember. Don't forget that. Excuse me, Jets. Next major level is 687. $687, everybody. Yeah. Oh, you know what we could do here? We could use the new trading style. How much of a dollar move is this, everybody? That's $7.96, which means since it occurred over the course of 2 days, this now becomes a blue zone, everybody. Blue. So, what's the next thing that one has to do when you get a blue zone? What do you do the next day? Well, it's very simple, actually. Because if you got a blue zone, a couple of different ways that you can actually go forward here. Again, I still haven't finished this, so we're going to try to see if we could build this on the spot. The next idea, of course, would be I guess I could do it with this first. Yeah, let me do it with this tool. So the next trend could be a $5.50 run up to potentially a $5 run up. So let's just choose something in the middle. So again, you have $5 up, $5 down, or you could say from the current low. So you got 2 white areas now. The next thing that, of course, can happen is going to be the golden zones, which is anything above $7, right? So you can get a move up and down like this much. The next thing that you're going to potentially get is larger than that, of course, which is going to be about $12. Because remember, the move from yesterday, this blue box only pertains to the opening price, which means if we go higher, this blue box will turn into an orange box. If you go up another, $5, $7, which means if you go up another $5, $7, now this trend is about $14 total, which means the next day can now be a blue zone. So let's say we run up higher here. It can actually basically tell us that now we have a perfect entry for the put side, as long as we can go a little bit higher, because then you're going to turn this blue box into an orange. If it just stays blue, the next few boxes that you get are most likely going to be around white, if not smaller, meaning no box at all. like for today's price action. Because right now, as it stands, I'm not creating a box for $1.3040. The only time you create a box is $5 minimum, or let's just say $4.80, like somewhere like around here, $4.79, $4.80, because you're over $4.50. So now it's starting to basically fall into the next territory, which is that next color. So that's pretty much the idea. So yeah, everybody, this market's either going to do a nonsensical trend, which is only 4 up. You pretty much did $1 already, so let's just say you measure the bottom from here. You're only going to get to 686.20, or potentially if you do it the opposite way, you're going to get to about 678. And then, of course, over the next day or two, if you manage to do another $1 up here, we can now make that box going into the next couple of days blue or orange. What we're looking for is an orange box, because once you get an orange, it means you're going to get some type of crazy ass price action within the next 2 days after that. So yeah, so far we only have blue. This is nothing too much, nothing too insane. Or you know what I want? You know what I really, really want? I want a purple zone. If I can get a purple zone, meaning this only runs up like another $2 here, and then the next day stays within that range at the top, maybe today, towards the end of the day, you run up, and then tomorrow you kind of gap down a little bit below that, and then you just fall towards the bottom again. That could be the case here. So, yeah, we'll start building something a little bit more efficient within the next hour or two. Right now, it's not telling us that there's going to be a big trend yet, is what I'm telling you all. The blue does indicate that it could turn into an orange or a red, but most of the time, if you're going to slow down and you're going to really fall out the sky, you get a purple box most of the time. And I can actually show you that here, right? Right before you got this orange box where it dropped you $27 out the sky, you got a purple box. You do get purple before it, of course, but again, just pay attention to right before a large drop. Let's go to another large drop. You could say like another drop here, purple. And then you start changing directions to the downside, right? Look over here, purple. And then you start changing directions to the downside. Over here, you didn't, oh yeah, you did get purple. But it was more towards like, I guess the top section. So you would have missed out on some profit, but it wouldn't have been that bad. And then you got a purple one right before it, which indicated that, yeah, you were going to make a large move soon. So that's kind of crazy. Both purples are really next to each other. They're like right there. And then let's go look over here. When the market fell from 640 to 619. Let's double check this just to make sure. Let's see. That's the low, that's the high, that's $8, that's $6. And then from here to down here, how much dollars is that? It's only $3.70. So that's too small for us to make a box. Yeah, I remember looking at this like 7 times and measuring it over the weekend. So we'll just leave that alone. You do get the purple box over here, but again, it's a little bit further. So that's something we had to note. Before you fell out the sky, you got a blue, a white. Purple was a little bit further away. So now this becomes a little bit more of a difficult conversation, but it's not the end of the day. Nor is it the end of the road. We have plenty of time for us to come up with some type of conclusion in terms of making this work consistently. It's just we got to keep, pulling data. So purple before you fall. I guess this is pretty much the only one. Let's go hunt down a little bit more areas, I guess. Purple changes direction on the weekly. Purple, you don't really get a large drop. Barely falls. How about up here? Is there a purple one up here? Price action looks too large. There's no purple at all over here. It's just white and everything above. Over here you get purple, which is 674, which funnily enough, everybody, it's right before a drop. So it seems like it happens a good amount of times, but there's a couple one-off situations. Let's go to the top of February. There is a purple. So yeah, do you guys see that? Right before the large drop, right before you fell $130, it was purple. Over here, right before you fell out the sky, when we got 5,000% across the whole Discord, for the whole entire, community here, we actually played puts from the top of this purple here, And we were basically playing the orange box. That's why we went up 5,000%, as well as our contracts were expiring this same day. So it was like a 1 day. It's like a perfect play. Like, you couldn't get more perfect than that. And that really surprised me, because then us being ahead of the market now allowed us to be ahead of the market for this Friday, where you ended up crashing again. And we played the same puts. So this is definitely just going to give us more information for what's happening with the short-term inconsistent price action. It just goes all over the place. Take, for example, this over here. Before FOMC in December, you get a purple zone before you crash out the sky. You can keep going, right? Over here, you get a purple zone at the bottom, right after you fall, which could indicate, yes, it's not just indicating drops out the sky. It could indicate the opposite, which is a run up into the sky, just like an equal reaction. Yeah, this is absolutely amazing. I want to see if there's purple here. Like, there, it looks like it. Looks like there could be, actually. Let me check real quick. That's not purple. But if I go from here to the bottom of here, that's not purple either. Okay, how about if I go from the bottom of here to the top of here? That's 470, everybody. That's 489, actually. That's purple. Literally, that's crazy. So you can always basically then therefore say that about 90% to 80% of the time there's a large drop or a run-up, you get a purple zone right before it. And then what you might ask, like, all right, so what the hell am I going to do with this information? Well, use it on DART. Because if you have a DART box, right, and you chop up that DART box, you'll see where the market could fall to. Where's the structure points, meaning? And as you all could see, when you fall off the purple, you're not at the top of the green, so you're not at a perfect structure point. It's kind of like in no man's land, but then you fall down towards structure, and you hold right above it. And you had this box from the left side. So you had this months before you actually fell down in 2024, like right here in November. You had this box from the bottom of August to the top of October 17th. So 2 weeks before you even had this nonsense occur, you were already tracking it down. And the one thing I want you to pay attention to is when the market actually falls down here, like right here, it's the same shit as here and here. It's just this is getting smaller. So this got, you know, this is a certain size. Then look at it here. It's like not that much of a drop right here. And then you start to speed up again. And then over here towards the tops, you basically do that price action one more time, where you trend up like this, consolidate towards the top, where the supply and demand zones are going to be the best tool. Usually the supply and demand zones are the best tools to update towards the top, because when it falls into the supply and demand zones, you already know where to buy off the yellow. You know what I mean? Does that make sense, everybody? It's just, how do you know when the market's going to stop at a certain high? Again, you all just saw me do it. Just get your DART boxes. I taught you this already. If you need extra classes or help, one-on-ones, I will be uploading my final schedule today for the rest of the year. It's kind of gonna suck a little bit, but there's an idea that I have in terms of trading styles. So we are gonna lower the amount of time that people could basically have with us, meaning in terms of the Discord, in terms of people joining it, we won't be allowing nobody to join on Discord for at least the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And yeah, we're going to go from there. So we're going to have like a little, kind of like, what do you call it? I don't know, like a pause point. You know what I mean? Because I want to finish these charts first. And then once that's done, we're going to reopen it back up. And we're going to see if we can have just some good trades go out. Because as long as people make capital, they can join. If they don't make capital from our YouTube trades, they can't join. Therefore, if we never give people from YouTube trades, they will never be able to join, which is not what I want. I want people to watch for free, make money. Once they have a good amount of capital, like a good safety net, boom, they can join and get extra information and just keep like scaling up very slowly. Like, for example, when you get into real estate, you might not know all the characteristics and qualities of real estate. But if you could pay somebody $500 to give you $200,000 worth of potential, not saying that you're going to get it in the moment, of course not. But if you can just have the knowledge and have somebody that can guide, can what the hell's the word? Like a mentor, whatever you call it. Because there's a lot of nice people out there. There's a lot of nice mentors. I found out they'll charge people a penny to the dollar to teach them their whole entire career because they're already done. They're already successful and wealthy. They're good for the rest of their life and their generations to follow. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do here for everybody with the stock stuff. I want to create an environment where we can mentor, help, teach, and just guide the next generation because nobody guided us. And that shit was ridiculously hard. Too many people want to go against each other. Too many people want to try to compete in an unhealthy manner. Of course, there's competition. I even have competition here how I teach in terms of the group. But you can't have it in a way where everybody's trying to come after each other, you know, and trying to tear you down just because they've been tearing themselves down the whole time. And I don't blame them. They're not a bad person. They were taught to do that. It's just we got to make people realize their mistakes. And we got to say it in a very nice manner. Because if you don't, eventually feelings just go all over the place with everybody. Unfortunately. I'll leave this stuff here. So, let's look at the next chart. These charts are looking so good. This shit is making me so excited. Oh my goodness, look at this. And then when I'm done with the reversal chart, number 2, we can actually finish that now. I think that's the next thing we should take care of. This is reversal chart number 2 on steroids. Pretty much. I just have like 10 different things I gotta fix here. So I'm gonna fix this up off screen so you guys don't get bored, and then I'll keep the weekly boxes for you to watch here. Or do you guys want to watch this chart here, number 7? Which one do you guys like more? I could delete some of these lines. Seven? Roger that. I also realized this should be at the left side towards the top. And this one, the orange one, it's $1.60. That's the size of the box, by the way. So the orange one, we should put this to the left and then put this at the bottom. By the way, at 12 o'clock, we're going to be turning off the YouTube and starting the private lives again. So today's going to be day number 1. Forgot to mention that, by the way. I apologize for that, by the way. I'll give you guys on YouTube some extra little information here to use for the rest of the day so you can prepare for tomorrow. And then what you guys are going to do is you guys are going to go into the Patreon and you're going to find the YouTube links that I sent for the videos that I created for YouTube trading styles. Basically, for anybody from YouTube, I'm giving them these trading styles. It's going to take you like 5-10 minutes to complete them. Simple stuff. Nothing too crazy and all over the place. You know what I mean? That's just going to be for the students. A lot of concepts one has to understand. That's why I say it like that. It's not a bad thing, by the way, for the students. It makes it so that they are actually able to be fine on their own, you know? Because it's like, how are you going to know you're safe and you could swim on the deep end before you dive into it, you know? Swimming in 4 feet, 5 feet, maybe you can do that and you're not touching the floor. But who knows? What if you dive into the deep end and your emotions, your feelings, your anxiety? What if something grabs a hold of your body and turns you into a vegetable? You know, you never know. Anything can happen. But as long as we test ourselves beforehand, we'll know how our body reacts and we can start building. So having stuff be a little bit more stressful is actually a good thing. Because then when you go back into a normal, you know, type of temperature, like how we are now this week and pretty much the next couple weeks here for the end of the year, yeah, things are going to change very, very nicely. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go here. Sorry, I was just scanning some of these other charts. My arm. All right, let me see. The gold trade is now up $300, everybody. Bringing in the profit now. There we go. We're also going to look for some puts right now for SPY. Puts. You said unacceptable. For what exactly? UT? What are we looking at over there? What are we thinking? SPY. $683 is going to be the next target, I think, for the strike price. I think these are some good prices here. It's just I kind of want to see if this is going to make a new high. But at the same time, in us saying that we're kind of waiting for it to see if it can make a new high, we could play a nice little cheap play for the upside. 685. Yeah, let's play a 685 call here, everybody. Actually, no, you're at the top already. You already ran up from the midpoint. You hit the midpoint a couple times. Therefore, this should be the last time you're here. We could be buying calls before the new explosion into the next high. It's not a terrible idea, but you could start falling out the sky here. This is like a normal put play. So normally you would get puts here. Actually, you know what? Before we even do anything, let's go ahead and add our CS zones. Oh shit, I took off the chart. I guess I'll just add it here and then bring it back to the other chart. Again, this is one of my other trading styles. Turn on the magnet tool. Boom, boom. Excellent. Oh no, yeah. You gotta make it make sense, you know? Because a person shouldn't be trading all day normally. So like Monday we'll do like the beginning session where we'll end it early. And then towards the afternoon on like Tuesday, we'll do the afternoon session tomorrow. And then Wednesday, we won't be live at all. Just private. Let me actually bring up the list right now. I'll tell you my exact schedule right now. I forgot to post that. See, there's so much things all over the place. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm getting too excited. Once I start seeing a sudden little slight change of progress, and it's kind of opening up that door for that perfect future that I've always wanted to build for myself, which is to be able to be a teacher that's, you know, unapologetically the best in the world. That's it. That's all I want. It's a dream to me. And I think it's about time to turn this dream into reality, to start changing this whole dynamic while we're still young and brimming with light and color and energy. Give me one moment, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to update everybody on the YouTube right now, again, just so you don't have any confusion with how you should play the rest of today. And then remember, go check the Patreon for the free trading styles. Where the hell did I put this thing? Where are you? There you are. Excellent. Ah. All right, everybody, give me one moment. Got a little situation here. Give me 1 second. All right, we're good now, everybody. We're back. We're back. She says she gotta do. I was thinking about going outside when it's raining again and recording some videos for YouTube. like raining videos. Test it a little bit, see how it goes. I gotta really clean up my desktop. That looks terrible. So, how's everybody's day? How are we doing? You said you think it was you who put us on to Raja Banks and Daniel Holmes, wasn't it? Honestly, I'm not too sure who that is. And I don't think I've ever heard those names before. Not too sure. It could be. I mean, unless it was like, I don't know, maybe something for like space or something like that. If it's anything having to do with the stock market, the only people that I put people onto was Josh from Stock Market Live. Because I think there's another Josh somewhere over there, but not the Josh that everybody is, what's it called? Referring to. But Stock Market Live. Stock Market Live. And then just go to Stock Market Live, press space, go to YouTube. Stock Market Live. This is the only guy I would ever tell people to watch, or Matt Trades. That's it. Stock Market Live and Matt Trades. Yep. But it could be something referring to like another sector or industry, right? Yeah, usually I wouldn't have people watch like just anybody on YouTube. So I'm not too sure if those two people are trustworthy. And the reason why I say that is it's not because people are trying to take advantage of people, but most of the time people don't even understand their ability to change a person's way of thinking. You know? Does that make sense, everybody? It's like they basically will say something accidentally or unconsciously, and that one thing that they said that they think is helping is actually causing issues for you. It's actually causing you to not profit as much, nor follow your ideas, nor listen to anything that's consistent. It's kind of like you're just dotting around all over the place when you watch YouTube videos. Even with Stock Market Live, a guy who I literally tell people to watch, where I'm comfortable with people watching him because I believe he's trustworthy. I believe he has a good heart, always tries to help people, and he's very open with his incapabilities. But Stock Market Live can't trade 0 days or 5-day contracts like how we do. He just buys stuff for the long term and holds it because it's pretty much a little bit easier. But yeah, he doesn't actively trade contracts and, you know, perfectly get 1,000% wins all the time. Like, that's not normal. But he does get a lot of 500%, 1,000% for monthly contracts. I've seen him do that a couple times for earnings. He always does earnings plays as well. So even though what I'm trying to say is he's not the ultimate form of what a stock trader could be, he's damn near close to the pinnacle. And that's not that bad. You can't always, ask for the pros to be willing to teach people unconsciously, It's just not going to happen. They just don't have time for that. You said it's for day trading? Nah, yeah, I'm not too sure who those people are, honestly. If you want, you could send me some of that stuff on the Patreon community chat. Send me some of the videos, and I'll take a look at some of it. And I'll let you know after. Alrighty. It's getting exciting now, ladies and gentlemen. We're easing into the afternoon session here. Broke above the box. We did not buy any puts yet. Let me check. Did we? I think we were going to, but we didn't. Oh, yeah, we didn't. We were going to buy the 685 calls. Those things went up 50%. Excellent. So the calls that we were going to buy, they ended up going up 50%. I just completely forgot about them. It's all good. That's all good, everybody. But that's pretty much exactly what we wanted, right? It's what we said. We said that this could be the last area to buy calls. It could fall down to the bottom. But this is a really nice location for an $11 play. It's not bad. Or if you had like a $30 play, that would have also been pretty good. But honestly, I would say send me the videos just so I can actually, because I could tell you within 5 seconds, maybe 5 minutes, let's just say, if there's not too much they're saying in 5 seconds, but 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I just need to hear how they talk. Once I can hear how they talk and what they say, I can easily tell a person if this person's trustworthy. I've taken a lot of time to build this filter. It's not something that I easily had at birth. It's something that I gained while, unfortunately, getting swindled by the market and Fed for the last 4 years, pretty much. The Fed would say the unemployment rate is this, or non-farm payrolls rate is this, and then next month they completely change it in a way where it doesn't make sense, and then they completely destroy your perception. So here am I sitting. I played calls one time on or let's just say non-farm payrolls. I got some good profit. So the next time we get non-farm payrolls, I wait for it to come out. I see the report. It's the same thing. I play calls. And now the trend does something completely opposite. That makes no sense, right? Because if the market was really paying attention to that one news report, why did it flip it even though it was the same thing as last time? It's because you have other things in the background, other variables that are more important than news. And news is simply just something that speeds up those variables. That's it. That's all news does. That's why I don't watch news or tell you guys to read all these reports no more or do all this other stuff. It's unnecessary. You're just kind of making yourself go crazy. Doing the charts is already a lot of work. I wouldn't suggest watching news right now, honestly. I'll let you know what happens because I have certain accounts on Twitter which tell me what's going on, like very important news. I'll get the headlines. As well as now, I have that filter, which took me a long time to build, but yes. And you might ask, how can you have a filter where it's able to cut out all the bullshit? And the first thing I'll tell you is don't even worry about it. We're going to have a video soon here. How to actually articulate a foolproof plan when it comes to researching stuff. So yeah, we're going to keep going from idea to idea to idea. Make sure we fill up the Discord, the tax information. Make sure we add the LLC information, the trust, management company, life insurance policy. You name it, we have it. That's how this Discord should be. The pinnacle of all Discords. I think I already fixed this chart too. Yeah, I did. So we fixed this target. And then we fixed this one as well. You're at the tippity top of this midpoint here. I'm wondering if, yeah, that's going to be the one causation of you falling out the sky. That would be really nice. You're about ready to fall. Let's get our parallel channels online, everybody, because once I get one parallel channel, you could easily see where the market's going to go. For example, if I go to this chart over here, which is supply and demand zones, you'll see that the last couple days, was this supply and demand zones? No, it was reversal points. Oh, I turned it off, so you're not going to see that. Well, did I add it to any more charts? Let me try to see if I could think. Oh yeah, we do. We added one right there, and then we added more of them. You said taco time? Hell yeah, that sounds really, really good right now. Nice tacos, lettuce, tomatoes on top. Shit. I found them. Damn, John, you got me thinking about tacos now, brother. Oh, man. Roger that. Thank you, UT. Appreciate that. All right, everybody. So if you're paying attention to the diagonal chart, you will all see that it's about time for the market to fall out the sky again, around 684. My apologies. And this time, when you fall out the sky, you pretty much want the same trend here. So you want to hit the top, fall down to the middle first, and then fall down to the bottom. The middle is 676. The bottom is going to be 669, ladies and gentlemen. Anywhere below this line here, you could potentially have a newer low inside of this blue box. That's the reason why we have 3 different channels, one in the middle, one at the top, and one at the bottom. Is to show you that there's 3 speeds going on at the same time, and the market's just simply switching between those speeds. So there's basically a line that exists already, and the market's basically just dotting between those lines, but it's doing it in the most aggressive fashion. How do I know? Because you're choosing the top blue box, if that makes sense. And if we keep resuming this strength here, eventually you're going to jump into 713. So that's going to be really interesting. Now, I'm sure you all know about this chart here. This is one of the greatest charts I've ever made. And when I show you this, you guys are going to remember this. I think Slug was paying attention to this mostly when I was showing it. But if you guys look at my chart here. By the way, we're going to hold some group classes right after this. A lot of classes. That's pretty much what I've been waiting for here. Yeah, wow, 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 wow. Wow, wow, wow. Look at this. Exactly what we said before. You're now at the orange line. I'll show you on this chart because it's a little better. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, did I color them differently? Oh, no, that's the green line. Wait, actually, let me see something. Let me extend this to the right. Yeah, you're not at the orange line yet, so you're at the green one right now. So, you're basically, yeah, you're right there. But do you guys see how you gapped up from this low straight to this line here? The reason why you did that is because this is your trend from 2024. You're finally in it. This was the easiest chart to ever trade back then. Because every time it hit the bottom, you just kept buying calls, which was the green line. And every time it hits the red, it's puts. So as you all could tell, you ran into the green before, but then you fell, showing resistance. Look at where you're at right now. Now if the market runs up to 700 or 710, 700 flat, you're going to fall straight down to 670. And I can confidently tell you that because of how much work I put into this chart. It's not a matter of it doing something different or it doing something unique. I already have every way possible that this market could basically trend on these lines. And it's perfect at this point. This trading style was made on November 23rd of 2024. The original one was made on March something 2024. This was the original one on main chart number 1. As you all can see, this one's a little bit more chaotic than that one. And it started all the way back here in 2024. And this chart's pretty old. This one goes back to like 2020 with the red lines, right? And then, yeah, look at this. This is so beautiful. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's what I'm telling you guys. This market's about to get a whole lot easier. You just wait. You just keep waiting. Just keep waiting. Just a little bit more. And remember, everybody, what did I tell everybody this morning before we started fixing and touching the other charts? We told everybody that the market does look bullish on the short term. It looks like it wants to go up higher. So we told you all when you were at the bottoms down here, the goal was to play for a new high, which is what you just got right now. So round of applause, everybody. Absolutely phenomenal. The next idea worked out perfectly. So that's the 7th idea. No, that's the 6th idea. The 7th idea is the calls that we were talking about before, which was down here. Where is it? Like right around... Ah, my kneecap. Because we got this one here. That was one idea, but then we told you when it runs to the top, it could run up higher. Oh, it's because we weren't playing with this. We were trading with this. That's why I'm confusing myself right now. We were using chart number 7. Don't get me wrong. But we were looking at the CS zones specifically at that moment. Which we can now make 2 more zones. Excellent. Boom. Boom. And of course, everybody, you're right on top of it right now as we speak. So if you fall into this orange box, you are going to fall to this midpoint and potentially fall slightly beneath it and hold. After you see it hit the midpoint, if it holds and slows down, you might be running back up to a new high, or you simply might be doing this right here. Let me draw it for you. So you hit the midpoint, hit the top, then go down lower. Or hit the midpoint, run back up, and start running into a new high. That's literally the only thing the market could do right now. It could start running right now if it's like extremely bullish, but usually you get some type of nice consolidation. Nothing too crazy. Today doesn't look like an insane day yet. But you can start like breaching into the atmosphere here, which is going to change the whole dynamic. So yeah, we'll see. We'll give it a chance here. We're going to take the slow approach. If it goes fast, we're just going to slow everything down. That is all. Alrighty. So the next thing I want to do here is now let's start fixing up our Tesla entries, because I'm going to make you guys scale your accounts much quicker with this thing here. So let's get into some Tesla trades real quick. By the way, that call that we got before, or the call that we were talking about, the $11 call, is right back up 50% 2 times in a row. Just so you can track down the ideas that we had. It's always going to be a healthy way for you to progress here. Got to track it all down, document it. Okay, so let's look at Tesla. Tesla. It's about to be time. Those contracts are crazy expensive. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's where all the open interest is. They're most likely going to play earnings. Or, oh shit. When is earnings? In 93 days. Oh, you just had earnings, didn't you? Holy. I completely forgot about that. This is literally the first year I've ever done that. Maybe because I mean, we weren't paying attention to it that much, but I guess that's still a mistake on my part, though. As it was the 22nd. Yeah, I was supposed to warn you guys 3 weeks beforehand. Yeah, we made a little mistake there. We'll make sure we don't make that same mistake in January. I'm literally gonna put it in fine print here. Document the earnings on the chart to not forget the next earnings report. I know. Now we click it. Let's just let this fix the grammar. How the hell did I capitalize both? That's all good. Okay, so boom, we got that here. Let's put this at the top so I don't forget. But yeah, I told everybody Tesla was going to run to 460 when you first fell down. And then I told everybody it was going to potentially fall right back down, going a little bit lower, which is what you did here. Now, since you completed that idea, the next idea that I have is going to be a very simple idea, not too complex. And it basically goes as follows. In terms of where we're currently at right now, the main idea is going to be to play puts on Tesla. How much did you run up? That's 401 to 460. So yeah, you're about at that point where we could play puts. And the goal is going to be to play for a newer low. So 380, 400 flat. Just like you first fell down to 400. And I think this could fall down to 350, 340. But yeah, we're just going to give this an opportunity here. If it runs, let's just say above this high from over here, which is 463, we're just going to play calls going into the 480s, 490s. So again, if you get above here, we're just going to play calls going to here. And then if you can't get above there, again, we want to play puts going right back down to the bottom here first, which is $30. And then another $30 little drop. Nice little drop here. Beautiful little drop, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, now let's go back. Let's make sure we don't lose some time here. Got a lot of things to finish. Yo, that looks so crazy. There's no way they did this for real. This must be AI. Yeah, this has to be AI. They literally created like drones. They were climbing the Empire State Building like King Kong. That looks insane. Imagine that was real. But I'm about to say, like, those drones probably would hit the building. They probably wouldn't allow them to do that. Just for safety. That is insanity. Oh yeah, yeah, I saw those. Yeah, those yo, those Japan fireworks, like the big shits, like the really really big ones. I don't know if you have ever seen it. It costs I forgot how much it costs. It costs a lot of money just for that one thing. But it splits off into like six, seven different miniature blasts, and then those blasts split off into more blasts, and it's like you literally light up the whole entire night sky. I'm gonna show you right now on the screen if y'all seen it. Potentially calls here. Everybody calls.